Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be tracing the steps of two incredibly different minds, Dylan Field and Evan Wallace, following them right up to the exact moment they joined forces to completely revolutionize digital design. Before the billions of dollars and long before the software was everywhere, there were just two students with vastly different backgrounds.
I mean, think about it for a second. How exactly does a former child actor team up with a Pixar intern to change the way the entire world builds software? Honestly, it sounds a bit like the setup to a joke, but it's actually this fascinating intersection of two brilliant paths. To truly understand how they eventually built a web-based design empire, we first need to look at the distinct worlds they came from and how those specific environments shaped their unique approaches to technology and creativity.
Section 1. Roots of a Tech Mind. So Dylan Field grew up in Pen Grove, California. And what's really fascinating here is that he didn't come from some deeply tech-savvy Silicon Valley family. Not at all. His mother was an elementary school teacher and his father was a respiratory therapist at a local hospital. But, early exposure to technology, even in a non-tech household, can act as a profound catalyst. His mom noticed he had this insatiable curiosity, so she bought him a compact Presario computer when he was just 5 years old. From that literal moment on, Dylan absolutely hogged the machine, and it sparked a lifelong fascination with technology.
Okay, let's dive into this timeline, because his intellectual progression was remarkably fast and, well, a little bit quirky. By age 6, he was already learning algebra. In middle school, he found the standard curriculum so boring that he actually spent most of his free time hanging out with the school janitor, who happened to be what Dylan's dad described as a math savant. By the time he reached a STEM magnet high school, Dylan was fully immersed in building websites for his friends and competing in FIRST robotics. He was, for sure, a tech prodigy in the making, but he had a totally different side to him, too.
See, Dylan also had a creative, performative streak as a child actor. He was actually featured in national television commercials for brands like eToys.com and even Windows XP. Now, he left acting behind right around puberty, but this really matters. Combining hardcore analytical skills like high-level math with soft skills like acting and presentation, that creates a unique competitive advantage for a future CEO. He wasn't just a math whiz, he understood the intersection of technology and human interaction. Section 2, Parallel Paths to Brown. And this brilliantly illustrates the dynamic that starts to take shape in 2009 at Brown University. On one side, we have Dylan, who arrives as a total community builder. He's co-chairing the computer science undergraduate group and organizing these massive 150-person hackathons, focusing heavily on product and people. On the flip side, we have Evan Wallace. Evan's early years were completely different. While Dylan was acting and organizing, Evan spent his youth relentlessly obsessing over 3D rendering and the intricate, complex world of computer graphics. By the time they meet at Brown, Evan is an older student and a teaching assistant for the CS department. He is the deep, hardcore technical genius of the duo. They meet, and right away, they recognize each other's complementary strengths. Section 3, Silicon Valley Internships. So out in the real world, their diverging experiences are incredibly telling. Dylan goes off and interns at LinkedIn, working on social impact, and then heads over to Flipboard as a technical product manager. He's actively pivoting away from pure math and leaning heavily into product management and user design. Meanwhile, Evan is pushing the absolute limits of computer science. He takes his skills to Microsoft to work as a software engineer, and then lands a coveted internship at Pixar, focusing entirely on advanced graphics. It's the perfect split. Dylan is mastering the why and the who, while Evan is mastering the how. Now, the technological breakthrough Evan achieved during this time changed everything. He created a demo called Water using WebGL. Basically, this was a library that allowed incredibly complex 3D graphics to run directly inside a standard web browser, no extra software downloads required. Wired magazine actually called it one of the most impressive WebGL demos they had ever seen. At a time when literally everyone thought serious graphics required downloading local, heavy desktop software, Evan's technical mastery proved that the web browser was way more capable than anyone thought possible. Section 4, the Thiel Fellowship. Fast forward to late 2011, and Dylan and Evan decide they want to start a company together. But to do that, they need funding, and they need time. So during a semester away from Brown, Dylan decides to apply for the Thiel Fellowship. This was a highly competitive program created by investor Peter Thiel, awarding a $100,000 grant to young entrepreneurs under the age of 20. But there was a massive catch. The core condition of the fellowship was that the recipient had to completely drop out of college for at least 2 years to build their startup. You can probably guess how well this went over at home. Dylan's father put it bluntly, saying pretty much everything we earned went to education. So yeah, his parents initially strongly opposed the idea. Brown was his absolute dream school, and his folks had sacrificed immensely to get him there. It's a powerful reminder that massive entrepreneurial leaps often require terrifying personal sacrifices. This wasn't just some business decision, it was a life-altering gamble. Section 5. The Big Leap. Let's move to and see how this builds, because Dylan's ambition, combined with his immense faith in what he and Evan could create together, ultimately pushed him forward. But, fun fact, they didn't land on their multi-billion-dollar idea immediately. First, Dylan pitched an idea for drone software. Evan totally vetoed that. Next, they bounced around ideas for a meme generator, and then 3D content generation. Finally, Evan convinced Dylan that his early work with WebGL was their true technological edge. They had what they called a hammer looking for a nail, and they realized they could use WebGL to build incredibly powerful browser-based creative tools.
So the crucial point is $100,000. In May 2012, out of 500 eager applicants, Dylan is officially selected to receive the Thiel Fellowship. This massive injection of capital turns all those late-night college debates into a tangible reality. It officially sets their grand plan into motion.
And so we arrive at the pivotal moment, spring of 2012. Evan Wallace successfully completes his computer science degree and graduates from Brown. Dylan Field takes the massive leap, formally dropping out of his dream Ivy League school. They pack up their entire lives, leave the East Coast behind, and move together to California to officially incorporate their new company. With a standard web browser, $100,000 in the bank, and a shared vision blending intuitive product design with hardcore graphical engineering, they were ready. We know today that they built Figma, but the real question to take away from all this is, if you combined your unique background with someone whose skills were the exact opposite of yours, what kind of empire could you build? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.